All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Voices of Empowerment podcast, where every voice matters and every story inspires. We are here to amplify the voices that echo with strength and resilience and the power to transform. So join us as we embark on a journey of discovery, unity, and advocacy. This is your space to listen, share, and empower. Let's raise the volume on change, one voice at a time. Joining us today is Bunny Keating, Mélanie Beamer, Maggie Morris-Mingay, and I'm Linda Rodgers. Today's topic of discussion is all about finding your purpose. And leading the discussion is our very own Maggie Morris-Mingay. Maggie lives her purpose through her everyday actions. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her now before we allow her to take the floor. So Maggie is an authentic, caring, sensitive soul with a passion for nurturing others with her soul love. Maggie lives her gifts of service to humanity through her generosity and her ability to ignite the flame in others, to see their limitless possibilities. Maggie uses her intuition and connection with spirit to be an example of strength and courage to all she meets. She is an author, a public speaker, a life coach, a mindfulness master and mentor, meditation facilitator, and Ontario certified ordained minister. She is also a community death doula and grief support coach. Maggie continues to pursue her passions as well as help those she connects with to find healing. Maggie loves and lives to encourage others to passionately become their authentic self by choosing healing through letting go of limiting beliefs that hold you back. And you can reach Maggie through any of her websites. You can reach her at www.aboveandbeyond.com, www.etherealenergy.ca, and finally, www.whispersofwisdom.ca. Maggie, we can't wait to hear what you're going to tell us about finding our purpose.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. Every time I hear that, I think, oh, yeah, that's me. Because sometimes we don't realize who we are until somebody else tells us who we are, or somebody else validates who we are, or somebody reminds us who we are. So I do want to talk to us today a little bit about purpose. And just to be authentically honest, I didn't know what I was going to say here until last night. So that's usually more notice than Spirit gives me. So before I begin, though, I just want to do what I always do before I speak and invite Spirit to be with us and to be the guide and to be the speaker and to just flow through me. So as we join together, Creator, ancestors, guides, and angels, we invite you here today to speak, to share your words, to share your wisdom, to impart to us the knowledge that you want us to have for this day, for this moment. I openly allow myself to be your vessel to speak your words through me. Thank you. So I looked up into the dictionary, well, the Dr. Google dictionary. What is purpose? And it says to me that it said the reason for which something is done or credited and created for which something exists. For which something exists. And in the topic today, I said life on purpose because I think we should live life on purpose. Live your life on purpose with no apologies or no regrets. How do we do that? Wow, that's kind of big because how do we do that? Life without purpose is time without meaning. There's so much time in this world, but without purpose, what does it actually mean? I lived most of my life trying to live up to the expectations of others, trying to find my purpose through what other people thought my purpose was. And just for a few minutes, I'm going to talk to you about that. You know, as a child, my purpose was being an obedient child to my parents. In school, my purpose was to learn and to be obedient there. And then as I became a teenager, the purpose changed and it was all about being accepted. It was about being accepted by my peers and being part of the in crowd. And then as I grew into my adulthood and looked at career, then it was all about what society thought I should be. It was all about what societal norms taught me that a woman in this world should be. So I went about that. I got a job. I married the right person. I did all of the things that society said I should do. But then one day, my shelf fell down. And by that, I mean the shelf where I put things that I didn't know how to handle, the shelf where I put things when I didn't understand what was going on. That shelf fell down. And I went to see a therapist because, for all intents and purposes, I was probably having a nervous breakdown because my worlds were colliding and I didn't know how to deal with that. Well, one thing that I learned there at that therapist was that I didn't know me. One day she asked me a very important question. And even though I knew the answers to a lot of things, I didn't know the answer to that. And what she said to me was, "What makes you happy? What do you live for?" And I thought, oh, I never took a minute to find out what that was. I had grown up wanting to please my parents, please teachers, please my partner, please God, because I grew up in a religious background that if I pleased God, everything was good. If I didn't, it wasn't good. But I didn't know what made me happy. I didn't know who I was. So I decided at that point to go on a quest for finding out Maggie's purpose. What was she here for? What did I have that the world needed? What was it that I was created for? It wasn't just what I had been doing, because those things didn't satisfy. They didn't fill any gap in my life. So I decided to go on a quest to find out, who is Maggie and what's her purpose? And I'll share with you today some tips that can help you if you're on that same journey. The first thing that I had to do was to identify things that I care about, not what other people told me I care about, things that I care about, what mattered to me, mind, body, and spirit. That can take some time, because if you've never taken time to find out who you are, you probably don't know what you care about. You probably don't know what matters to you, because just like me never being asked what makes me happy, nobody asked me what matters to me. I didn't even ask myself. So I made it a point of going deep within myself and going to creator and to spirit and saying, I know I was created on purpose. What is that purpose? I didn't know. And that took some time to figure out. So step one was identifying things you care about. Step two is reflecting on what matters to you. Step three is recognizing your strengths, your talents, and know that you were intentionally created for them. What is it that you're good at? What do you really enjoy? How will you leave your mark on the world? Because whether we realize it or not, every single person on this planet leaves a mark on the world. But it's up to you whether it's the mark you want. It's up to you whether it's showing what you care about and what matters to you. You'll leave a mark no matter what, but you get to choose what you care about. Another thing that I did, and is something that I encourage people to do, is to try volunteering. Finding your purpose is more than just the first 3 steps of recognizing things about yourself in personal reflection, but it's also about meeting other people, seeing what inspires them, seeing what in them inspires you. And sometimes volunteering anywhere is the way to go with that. I tell my clients all the time, whether it be a grief client, whether it be a mindfulness client, whoever, I tell almost everybody that I meet to try volunteering, because volunteering gives you way more than you ever give them. Because everywhere we go, we're going to meet people. We're going to find things that we're passionate about and other people are passionate about, because passion and purpose kind of go hand in hand. Step 5 in that process was imagine my best self. If you're on this journey of finding out what your purpose is, imagine your best self. What does he or she look like? As your best self, what are you doing? What's really important to you? What do you really care about and why? The why is so important. So ask yourself the why. What does your best self look like? Visit her often. Talk to your best self. Get wisdom and advice from your best self. Because although you live in this earthly body, your soul self, your highest self, your best self, whatever you want to call it and whatever you believe, doesn't have that earthly body to contend with, doesn't have that stuff that your mind keeps playing back to you about what you're not. Your best self knows exactly what you are. So go there. Imagine her. Speak with her. Find out who your best self is. The 6th thing I did is learn how to cultivate positive emotions like gratitude and awe. My awe moments, I refer to as my holy shit moments, because when we put gratitude into our life and those awe moments, it helps us focus on how we want to contribute to the world. Reflecting on blessings often leads us to pay it forward moments. The more that I think and live in my place of gratitude, the more I want to give. And I always refer to that giving cup as, like my friend Bunny taught me, the cup and the saucer. And now I unapologetically tell people, stay out of my cup. My cup is my cup. You drink from my saucer. All that overflows from my cup goes into that saucer, and that's free for the world. The world can have all that I have in my saucer. Because if I keep my cup full of gratitude, awe moments, of powerful spirit moments, it's going to overflow. It's like a bubbling volcano that just goes everywhere, and it fills up that saucer. It splashes out everywhere I go in the world. It splashes out. So allow your cup to overflow, and imagine that volcano cup just overflowing with who you are, with your purpose when you find that. When you look to people you admire, which is step number 7, sometimes the people that we admire give us a clue of what we admire. So take time and sit in meditation and think about, who do you want to be around if there was no life stuff holding you back? Who do you admire most in this world? Who would you want to have lunch with? Who would you want to have coffee with? Who would you want to go for a walk with? Who would you want to listen to them speak? What is it about them that you admire? Because I would venture to guess that what you admire in them is in you. Whether it's within you sleeping, or whether it's within you planted as a seed, growing and waiting to come to life, it's in you. You just might not know it yet, and that's okay. How our purpose changes over a lifetime is very interesting. And I look at it as 4 different times in life. As I said earlier, as a child, we just accept life as it is. And a lot of the time, we don't care. It's however it is, we're going to go with that. As teens, as I said in my own life, I'm seeking purpose. I'm seeking to be accepted. I'm seeking something more, always something more. As an adult, we're busy with purpose, whether it's in our careers, whether it's with our families. We're so busy doing purpose that we don't give it much thought otherwise, because we're just busy doing it. And then comes what I personally think is the best time of life, maybe because I'm there, is midlife and beyond. I'm more to the beyond than the midlife, I will have to admit. But it's okay, because there at midlife and beyond is the crossroads of purpose. It's where I can just go full on into purpose. I don't have the same kind of worries I did when I was a teenager. I don't have the same kind of worries when I was a mom of teenagers. I don't have the same kind of worries when I was a single mom. So I can go full on into mind, body, and spirit of what I want to be and living my purpose. I don't have the same kind of worries whether or not I'm accepted. At this point of your life, you might be at the place where it doesn't really matter. So you can just do what you want. You know, if I want to be the crazy plant crystal lady, I can be the crazy plant crystal lady. Or for me, I'm going to be the crazy puppy lady, whatever. But I can live my purpose. And that's what I choose to do. Every day when I wake up, that's what I say. Spirit, where are we going today? Bring into my life who you want to bring into my life. And there I'll go. Because I'm at that time of my life where that's how it is. I can do that. And that's that midlife and beyond. And that's where I say purpose becomes a practice. Just like meditation is a practice, just like mindfulness is a practice, just like spirituality is a practice, just like religion is a practice, so is purpose. But we have to find out what that purpose is. So I invite you today to ask yourself, what is my purpose? And when you find out what it is, write it down. See how it changes. See how it evolves. Purpose is something that every single one of us has within us. And maybe we just don't know what it is yet, but it's in there. It's in there. I guarantee you, without a doubt, as I am living and breathing here today, it's in there. You just have to go after it. Tap into it. Right into your gut. Just sit in quiet and tap into it. Feel what it feels like. And even right now, If you put your hands right in that belly button area, just feel it. Feel the energy of it. What does it feel like? Is it in your heart? Put your hands there. Feel it. Tap into it. Recognize it. Know that it's there. Recognize it. And then cultivate it in the same way that right now, where we are, it's springtime and people are planting and working in their garden. Cultivate your purpose. Once you tap into it and recognize it, cultivate it. Cultivate your life to be around that, like you're just gearing into it. Put yourself in the direction of it. Go to it. Go towards it like a ship on a direct mission. Just go there rather than waiting for it to come to you. You just go after it. The other thing I want to say is that your purpose consists of central motivating aims in your life. It's the reason you get up in the morning. It's the reason you go on when things are hard. Purpose can be our guide. It can guide our decisions, influence behavior, shape our goals, offer a sense of direction, and create meaning in life. For some people, not all people, purpose is connected to their vocation. It gives them meaningful, satisfying work. But to other people, it may have nothing to do with their work. It may be completely outside of the box. So whatever your purpose is, allow it to be your guide. Allow it to be your shining light that you always have to go towards. Having a purpose in life means having a sense of direction, a meaning. It means a knowing. There is a knowing deep inside of me that I know who I am. I know who Maggie is now. I know what makes her happy. I know what drives her. I know what her purpose is. And I go to that. Research has shown that people who have a sense of purpose are happier, are more resilient, and are more successful than those who don't. So, hey, is that not by itself make it worth going after? If right off the hop, you know your purpose is good for you. My purpose, for those of you who are listening who may not know me, people who do know me pretty much know what it is. My purpose is to live from a place of love. Am I perfect at it? Hard no. But it's my driving force. When I see myself not living from a place of love, and let me tell you, I'm a human being. So there are many times in my life that I am not geared towards my purpose. But I can very quickly turn ship and go, oh no, that's where I want to be. And now when I see myself off course, I don't beat myself up. I don't say, you worthless human being, you don't even know what you're doing. No, I don't do that anymore. I say, is this the person you want to be? No, that's the person you want to be. Go to her. There is no expectation of being perfect. There is no expectation that you need to get it all right all the time. But that purpose keeps you going in the right direction. It's like your life compass. Keeps you from getting lost. It keeps you from getting into places that you don't want to be. Keeps you on course. So find your purpose, seek out your purpose, and let it be that direction force for you. Let it be that thing that drives you. Let it be that thing that keeps you when things are hard. Because there's many times in my life when my purpose seems way far off in the distance, when life as a human being is hard. But as long as I see a flicker of light from that purpose, I know I can get back to it. I know I can go there. I know I can see it. And so can you. Whatever it is that you might be struggling with today, a purpose, your purpose, what you were created for, what you came to this earth for, is reason enough to do it, is reason enough for you, because you don't have to get good enough for your purpose. You are good enough for your purpose. You are valuable enough for your purpose. It's not a matter of something you have to attain. You already are. It's already there. You're just tapping into it. You're just getting direction from it. You're just feeling the feelings that go along with it. Set the compass. Go in the direction of it. Don't beat yourself up because you're not right close. It doesn't matter. You're going in the direction of it. Find your purpose. Find what brought you here. Because you know what? Just this weekend, when I was driving up here to this cottage that I'm staying in, trailer that I'm staying in, but it's kind of like a cottage, I was listening to a podcast, and it gave me a buzz like I can't even imagine, but I just knew it was from Spirit for this moment in time. And somebody who's listening to us right now needs to hear this, just like I did. It's about the 1%. And in this podcast, he said, you know, in this world, we're taught that we can manifest. But in order to manifest, you have to believe in it. You have to name it. You got to believe it's yours. Religion teaches you have to be it. And this man in the podcast pointed out to me, do you know that creator, spirit, heaven, whatever you want to call it, works in the 1%. So you can see something as a goal for you. You can see this purpose. 99% of you can believe that you can't attain it. But if you have 1% of you that believes it's possible, that's all you need. Because creator works in 1%. Creator does not need 100%, needs 1%. All of us, I'm sure, can muster up 1%. And when he talked about that, I got a picture in my mind about a story in the Bible that I learned as a child. And it was that Jesus left 99 sheep to go find one, because one was just as important as the 99. You might be that person who feels like you're only one. It's okay, because spirit works in 1%. I'm wearing a t-shirt today that says, you can change your world, because I believe it. I believe that me, Maggie Morris-Mingay, one person, can change the world by changing me and allowing my cup to overflow into the saucer, to spill out everywhere I go. So That's what I leave with you today as my voice of empowerment to empower you to find your purpose. And I want to take this moment to ask Bunny and Linda and Melanie, how did you find your purpose? Have you walked towards it? What's it mean to you? The floor is yours, guys. Who wants to go first?
I'd love to add to that. I mean, Maggie is a tough act to follow, let's be honest. She speaks so eloquently. And thank you, Maggie, for sharing all those inspiring words. I saw tears running and people wiping their cheeks because of this moving message that you shared with all of us. And we are so grateful for that. Um, as we talked about and prepared for this podcast, and I had to give some thought to what does purpose mean and how does it present itself? I came to the realization that purpose changes with the seasons of our life. You know, for example, when I was a young mother, I found great purpose in parenthood. Just being a mom was the best of the best. And when my kids got a little bit older, that purpose remained, but it transitioned a little bit. You know, I became their sports coach and the cheerleader on the sidelines, cheering them on. And I found great purpose in that as well. And then when my children got older still, it was time to refocus and ask myself, what was my purpose? What could I do? And I became a mental health professional, offering myself to the world in a way that I could. But I also think finding our purpose is influenced by timing. You will know your purpose when the time is right. For example, when I was a young adolescent, I asked the question. But the answer didn't come to me right away because it wasn't the right time. I was asking questions like, why am I here? What am I supposed to do? But more than that, it was coming from a place of pain and sadness and confusion. And although I didn't get an answer to my questions on that really sad and lonely night, I did feel a loving calm wash over me, as though to say, don't worry, all is being taken care of and your time will come. More recently, however, I asked better questions. I asked the universe, source, how can I use my talents, skills, and knowledge and experience in a way that will serve humanity? Now, those questions were more expansive, and they came from a place of love. And because I am currently in a season of my life where I am prepared to take action, I was able to receive an answer to my question. Now, it didn't come right away and not all at once. It came little by little. And it came by tuning into my intuition and listening to the guidance I was receiving through visions and dreams. And this plan was taking shape. Now, it's a very audacious idea. And the old me would have been afraid to take on such a big task and a huge responsibility. But the me I am today is excited by this plan. And I can trust that all the pieces will come together with every step I take in the direction of this grand plan. Now, I haven't got it all figured out yet, and that's okay. But I still choose to keep moving forward anyway. And I know and I trust that the right people and the right resources will show up just as I need them. And so, my advice to anyone listening now or listening later, if you are still trying to figure out your life purpose, ask yourself, ask the right questions. But more than that, be prepared to hear the answer and be prepared to take action. And that is my message for all of you today.
I could go next. For me, all my life too, I knew that there was more purpose and more things to come. Even though as a child, I knew I had gifts and I had talents and that I was very intuitive and I was a medium and I could see things. At that time, I still didn't understand the whole entire everything about it. And as a teenager, I was still searching for more and searching for more. And sometimes I thought, oh, I'm getting answers. And I know I was hitting a brick wall, you know? So, and then things happened in my life too that needed healing, that needed guidance. And then as a young mom, I got busy with my children, but I still focused on me. I did so much healing with so many different books with Dr. Wayne Dyer and with Neil Donald Walsh. They were two of my big ones. And Jack Canfield with all the Chicken Soup for the Soul. I don't think there's one book I didn't read. And I soaked up all these stories from people. And so, and I did a lot of, I didn't just read the books, I did the homework and the workbooks that went with them. And I did that with the Course of Miracles. And I did that with so many courses and books to help me. And then I kept searching for more because I knew I was meant to be more. And then when I started working for the school board with the kids, I just loved it. I was passionate about it. But as time went on, something again was earning me for more. So in 2015, when I went to the ashram and I was doing a lot of meditation in Sanskrit, I was asking, what is my purpose? What am I meant to do with humanity? And I got messages from Krishna, and I got some messages from Jesus, and I got some messages from amazing masters. But at the time, I still did not know what to do, even with what they were telling me. It was just not that right time yet. So in 2019, when I went to a yoga retreat, more information came. And then on that weekend, that Buddha moon woke me up and spoke to me. And it said, Mélanie, we need you to help humanity on a bigger scale. Are you ready and willing to do this? And I said, yes. And I didn't even hesitate to say yes. And I had no idea what the unknown of what was to come. So it still took a bit of time. And then when COVID hit, that was a time for me that my life had changed so much because I was homebound, couldn't go out because I was allergic to all the cleaners and everything that was out there. So I meditated and I did mantras, and I was receiving more messages, and I was going into everything. And then also I started doing Sunday Inspiration every Sunday with Bob Baker and Pookie Lee, and that really inspired me, and I met wonderful people. And then through Pookie in 2021, she talked about World Unity Week, and she was on that show. And so I watched as much as I could, even though I was teaching online, and I was teaching children with the school board online. So between my breaks, I'd watch a little bit of a clip, and I'd watch a clip after class until like 10 o'clock at night. And I'd get up at 5 in the morning to 7:30 before getting into class. I was so excited. So I went outside and I meditated, and I prayed to the Divine Father and the Divine Mother. And I said, please help me. Mother Earth, I'd really like to be on World Unity next year. I don't know how. I don't know how to go about it, but I know you guys can help me create this. So that's when at that end of August, I got more messages and guidance, and these light beings came in. And then I had to follow my heart and purpose when the Divine Mother Earth, Gaia, told me, Mélanie, are you ready and willing to help humanity? And I said, yes. And then a few weeks later, I got a message from Creator asking me to leave the school board because him and Mother Earth need my help to help humanity on a bigger scale. So I took a big leap of faith by doing that. And I left the school board, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to do yet, but I trusted. And I knew that I had to have faith. And from that moment on, they started guiding me. They gave me names of 2 groups. Oh no, before that, she started channeling me messages weekly. And it was in English for a few weeks. And I thought, hey, should I be translating them in French? And then I heard the voice, no, I'll be waking you up 2 nights a week, one with an English message, one with a French message. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. And I said, what am I supposed to do with these messages? She said, share them with humanity. So I said, well, how am I supposed to do that? She goes, here's a name for a French group and an English group, community groups that you will open, and you will gather people from all over the world, and I will share you and channel you messages that you will share with these groups weekly. So I began those groups in December of 2021, and they have grown. And she kept guiding me. So then the next spring, I was in the garden and she goes, "This year you'll be writing 3 books." I said, "What, me, an author? 3 books? Oh my, how is this going to happen?" So I bumped into our friend Anne, and she had just written a book with Maggie and Bunny with that Above and Beyond, and said, Melanie, I just wrote Mom's Love, and we're writing another book in June. Would you be interested?" So this is how I got to meet Bunny and Maggie and wrote that first book, and then wrote a second book that year. And then I finally figured out what the third book was that Gaia wanted me to write. And that was the book with all those channel messages that I was receiving. So that same spring, I had a message, and it said, a guy was nagging at me, "Go check your emails, and your junk mail." And I was like, "Can you please wait? I have like a half hour left in the garden." And once I'm in the garden, I'm just in so much love in my garden that time passes and I don't even have a clue what time it is, because I am passionate and I am in there. So I promised, and I came in and I went to check my junk mail, and there was an email from World Unity Week searching for speakers and for things. So this all rolled out. So all I have to say is, since 2021, my life has been just rolling and going with everything. My energetic healings, my community groups, whatever I am doing, I just follow and trust. And who would have told me in 2024 that I would have written 6 collaborative books, 2 of my own published books, being a speaker, being on podcasts, being an energetic healer, and being a medium on different platforms and all over in the community. I am loving life more than anything. So even when we do have ups and downs, and I'm not saying my life is perfect, in the last month, 2 months really, I've hit a lot of walls again, and I've lost a lot of people again. And just in the past week, I lost a good friend. And now I have another one who's hanging on, and he's a family member of ours. So many people around need our help too, but I need to also take care of me. If I don't take care of me, I can't take care of everyone else. And I don't just need to take care of them, because I had 2 wise friends last week that told me to ask unemployed angels and ask archangels and spirit to also help send light and love. Not just my soul sending the light and love to everyone. And what a big difference that has made in my life just in the past week. So we will go through some turmoils and times, and sometimes some health scares and different things in our life. But out of that, I always know that there's a gift that will come out of it. It always has, if I look back in my childhood, in my young teenage years, and even in my adulthood. So I am blessed, and we just have to go forward. But the thing is, I've learned is to go with the flow. And that was not the old me, I could tell you that. I lived by my watch, which I don't even wear anymore. And I was so organized, and now I let go. I do only what's important, and I follow my heart. So thank you.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you. To follow these 3 wonderful people is just such an honor. This is such a powerful talk today. And there's been talk about purpose, there's been talk about passion, there's been talk about excitement. Those are all of the buzzwords, right? Those are all the big things. That's the way that you can see your purpose. The funny thing for me is I'm going to have a little bit of of course, individual and a little bit of a different experience is when people ask me, what is your purpose? Or when, the interviews that you used to get for a job, and it would say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I always had to make up something because I didn't know. I had no idea where I was going to be in 5 years. I couldn't think that far ahead. I couldn't imagine what my life was going to be like. Just like Maggie, I had a saying come up, that whole thing of man plans, God laughs, is like, that whole thing that I would plan out things and it never turned out that way. It would always change. So even if I had those long-term goals, it wouldn't always become that, and in many ways would become even better than what I had imagined. And so I think I kind of sat back and stopped imagining those things. But just like Linda and just like Mélanie said, as a child, as a teenager, as I think many of us go, why are we here? What is the reason for life? Why are we doing this? Because we all know that there is more than just, going to school, hanging out with friends, spending time watching TV. Like, we know that there's more. There's more for us to do. And when I think about purpose, I think about how I used to think, or I was conditioned to believe, that purpose had to be big, that it had to be something huge, that it had to make a giant impact on the world. And then I remember somebody like my grandma, who didn't work a traditional job. She raised 5 children, was a grandmother to, I tried to do the math real quick, 7 children. And she was one of the biggest influences in my life. And for probably the last at least decade of her life, she barely left her house, and she didn't go on the internet, and she didn't. So her impact of people, the impact that she made of people wasn't large. It was a small impact, but those people who she impacted was a ripple effect that then went out into the world and did that. So her purpose, if you wanted to look at that, was to love and influence her grandchildren and her children, and to make that, and then those people would go out into the world. So I want to say, for the people who are listening, it doesn't have to be a big purpose. It can be something what you perceive to be so tiny and so small. It can make a much larger impact, because we are all connected, and we are all worthy, and we're all important. If you weren't important, you wouldn't be here. And every single one of us will know this too, that somebody wants what you have. There is somebody in the world that is desperate for your gift, desperate for it. And so it's kind of like, I was reminded a few months ago when I was questioning, I lost some confidence in some of my abilities and stuff like that, and questioning what it was that I was supposed to do, where it was I was supposed to go. And it was just, just trust and just do something, because anything is going to find its place. It's going to find its way. So that's how I find my purpose day to day, is I try to find in every moment that little spark of excitement, that thing that just seems a little bit more exciting. And I surprised myself the other day, because I woke up excited to do the dishes. And I was like, what? But I was like, well, I'm going to follow this excitement right now. Like right now I'm excited to do the dishes. I'm going to go do those dishes. And I was so giddy inside with that excitement. And I thought, this is what it is. It's following that excitement, following that passion. There are times I ask myself the question, I sit and I go, what do I want to do today? And I'm like, do I want to color in a coloring book? Sure. Grab a coloring book, start coloring. And then I'll ask myself, of all the things that I have options, everything that I have options to do, what is that little tiny bit of excitement more than the other things, and follow that. And oftentimes I get winks from the universe in synchronicity. So right now I'm looking and it's 1:51 p.m. So repeating of numbers, those kind of things, that's a little wink from the universe that lets me know you're on the path, you're doing the thing, you're right where you're supposed to be. Even if it's something where I've noticed the numbers and I'm, maybe watching a TikTok or something, it's like, that's okay. And so to just kind of let ourselves off the hook of it having to be the biggest, most grandest thing all the time, and just making sure that we follow those little crumbs of excitement, as Maggie said, that 1%, that little place where we can just follow, and we don't have to have it all planned out. Just start doing it right away, and don't worry about it. I saw it was a TikTok where a lady said, so many people are in that freeze, that functional freeze, because they're so worried about making a mistake, not choosing the right thing. And she said, if it's between two choices, just pick one of them. You can always decide you no longer want to do that and choose the other one. If that other one's no longer an option, you will be amazed to find out what other options and opportunities come up. I can't tell you how many times a thing that I thought was an insignificant choice, like turning a certain way or going into a store at a certain time, brought me to a person or an experience that was way bigger than I could have ever imagined that it was going to be. And I see people nodding all right now on this call because we've all experienced that. And I like to say that what my purpose is for my life is love, and just love more. And I start with myself, right? Love myself more. And just how can I be more loving and caring to myself? Because as Dr. Wayne Dyer had said, when you squish an orange, you get orange juice because that's what's inside. So when I get squished and pressed by life experiences, I want love to come out of me. So I need to put love inside of me. So that is what I'm going to say about purpose today. And I love this. And I just love also that I made the technical difficulty of accidentally putting this on our public page instead of our private group this month. And so I'm going to encourage people who are watching us to join our private group so you can listen to further discussions live when we are doing it and interacting with us, because we definitely welcome that. But yeah, so that's my stuff for now, and we have a few more minutes if Maggie wants to wrap up what she heard.
Well, I think it's just incredible, as always, that, at least for me, I don't plan much ahead. And Spirit always shows up. Spirit just wants me to trust, just wants me to move forward. It's like you said, it doesn't matter what the impact is. Once Spirit gets a hold of it, it's a big explosion.
It certainly is. And we're having
Once
people in the
Spirit
comments
takes it.
talking about it. It is that 1%. And, there's so much that we've said today that is just so impactful and so spirit-led. And whether we plan it ahead of time or whether we do it on the moment, it's always spirit-led, because it's always coming
the right way.
Yes, it's always the right way. And the intention, and none of us ever have to fit into somebody else's mold or how somebody else, because like it's coming again. The earth needs my brand of crazy. So that's what it is. Whatever it is, that's what it is. And just let it go and just be who you are, because there are people who want exactly what you have, exactly the way you have it. So,
and to Linda, I want to say there's many people out there, including the four of you, the three of you, that I wouldn't want to follow speaking either. And that's not the important thing. It's the important thing is us all being available and creators speaking through us. And that's why I recognize all the time, it isn't me. Although it is me.
Yes.
But it isn't me. If that makes sense. It is me, but it isn't me.
Yeah, I mean, it goes through our filters, but it is spirit coming through who we are, and we make it, I bunnyfy things, and then we have Linda-fy, Mélanie-fy, Maggie-fy, and each one of us, that's what we do, and we make it our own. And that energy behind, even you can hear the same message from each one of us. We could say the same sentence and it's not going to feel the same, because
and it means something different at different times. It's just like I told you, that little Bible story about the 1%,
right?
That one little lost sheep. That story meant something completely different to me,
right,
than when that one sentence in that podcast said, Spirit works in the 1%. Because I tell you, I was always taught, and the limiting beliefs that I picked up over time was I had to be 100%. And I owned that. And it prevented me from doing many things in my life because I wasn't good enough. or I wasn't talented enough, or well, maybe I don't want it enough.
Right.
I can do 1%.
Yeah. And when you told me that this morning, when you shared that with me, that story with me, I immediately got the image of the yin yang symbol and seeing the black part with a tiny bit of white, and being that is, spirit working in that 1%, in that light, and each one of us being the light
Yeah.
in the world if we perceive that there's some
Yeah.
darkness. So just being that light.
And there were certainly angels riding in my car when that came through. And I was just, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Do Melanie or
So-
Linda have any thoughts or some closing thoughts as we
Yeah.
start to close up?
You talked, Maggie, about being in your car receiving messages. Isn't it funny how messages, intuitions, visions can come at you at the most inopportune times sometimes? I'm the type who likes to write things down because I have a great memory. It's just super short.
Yeah.
And so if I don't write it down, it's gone. And wouldn't you know it, Spirit often likes to give me a message when I'm in the shower and don't have access to my notepad. And so I just, if this is meant to be, you're going to have to make sure I remember
Yeah,
until I'm
that's-
dry and ready.
That's the same thing I say. You got to come back around.
Yeah, yeah. But when we follow those little intuitive hits, it really can lead us down a path that will take us to where we want to be. You just have to be willing to listen and ready to act on what Spirit has to tell you.
Exactly.
And follow our instincts and our intuition is what I could add. And there's never no right or wrong. And especially when you're following your heart and following spirit and following your authentic self of who you really are. Because we're all.
And the last thing that I will say is my voice today is in a world that is, as my grandma used to say, going to hell in a handbasket. The world needs purpose. And we are here to let people know they have it. Maybe they just can't find it.
Yet.
Purpose is the answer to what the world needs.
It's funny when you said in a world, I almost thought you were going to say, I found this picture that I had actually put on my wall. My kids grew up with it because I wanted it to be, and it was a bunch of cats that were white and black and one Dalmatian standing among them. And it said, in a world full of copycats, be an original. And it was something that just sang to me, and now it's been brought to me again, Linda, like you said, it's been brought to the forefront again for this. So I'm going to say, because it is 2:00, so we're going to be going. So thank you all for tuning in to the Voices of Empowerment. As we bring this month's conversation to a close, we hope you found inspiration and strength in the stories we've shared today. Remember, every voice has the power to make a difference, and together, our voices can create a symphony of change. Join us again on the third Sunday of next month at 1 p.m. That's June 15th, I believe, at 1 p.m. Eastern, where we're going to talk about family and family dynamics, as it is in North America anyway. It's Father's Day, so we're going to talk about family. Until then, keep the conversation going and continue to be the voice of empowerment in your community. And remember, you can join us in our private Facebook group and listen to our podcast wherever you find podcasts, and watch our replays on YouTube. From all of us at the Voices of Empowerment, goodbye for now and take care.